For Pro plus handboard users, you're in for the most amazing treat. ChordBoard's patented handboard gives you unprecedented control to play bass lines, rhythm, and lead over your chords with virtually no effort, and always in accordance with music theory, whether you're a music theory maven or even if you've never learned a single thing about music theory in your whole life. Let's dive in. Alright, the first thing you're going to notice is the hand shape. This is so it can be intuitively played in the studio, live, or just messing around with friends in the garage. Here though, it's like a super hand with 7 fingers. These correspond to the 7 notes in every key. Here's where the tech brings music theory power to your fingers with 0 effort. The currently playing chord is displayed here. What this does is it changes the notes that are assigned to each finger to coordinate with the currently playing chord. And if you've ever watched a YouTube video about solo playing on guitar or piano, you probably were taught that to sound good, you want to stick to the pentatonic scale. If that was you, remember how hard it was to memorize on the keyboard or guitar the pentatonic scale. Well, you can do that here instantly. No learning curve. The fingers with notes of the pentatonic scale are highlighted in blue. This is next level intuitive. Well, if you have ever watched a YouTube video about how to be even better at soloing, you probably learned that if you focus not just on the pentatonic scale, but also on the triads of each chord, your solos are going to be amazing. That meant that you had to memorize the 3 notes that go into every chord just to do that. 99% of people who quit trying to solo quit because that's nearly an impossible task. But those days are over. Instead of having to move your hands and fingers across a piano keyboard or a guitar fretboard, to find notes, ChordBoard uses technology to move the notes under your fingers and keep your hands in place. No memorization, just great sounding solos, always. ChordBoard always puts the root note of the chord underneath your index finger. Watch, as the chord changes, the root note of the index finger changes. But that's not all. Every triad has a root, 3rd, and 5th note. The 3rd is always assigned to the middle finger, and the 5th to the ring finger. Watch as these change with each chord. As you play with the handboard, you can always play the triad or the pentatonic scale over the currently playing chord without any memorization or music theory knowledge. You've just been empowered with 10 years of music practice in 1 second. Pro tip: if you already thought the handboard was cool, get this. What I just showed you can also be used to learn music theory if you'd like. Here's how. Remember I told you that you can see the currently playing chord here? And that the blue segments represent the pentatonic scale here. Well, just study the notes on the handboard in real time as ChordBoard plays, or pause the transport to think about it, and in no time, you'll start to know the pentatonic scale for each chord. And that's not all. Remember, I told you that the root, 3rd, and 5th are always mapped to the index, middle, and ring fingers. Well, study these notes on the handboard as ChordBoard plays, or pause the transport to think about it for a bit, and in no time, you'll start to know the triad of every single chord. You can learn music theory while you're playing, without even sitting down to learn music theory. How cool is that? Okay, let's move on. There's even more to cover here. Let's look more closely at the finger. You'll notice each finger has 5 segments. Each segment is a different octave. That means you have 5 octaves instantly available for every note. The days of moving all around the keyboard or fretboard are over. And if you need an octave higher or lower, we've got you covered there too. Simply press the octaves display and you can decide which octaves you want to map into the 5 segments of the handboard. It's that simple. The handboard can be played with hold notes, on or off. Use the hold notes toggle button here to switch between hold notes on and off. With hold notes on, each time you touch a finger segment, the note will hold. Touch it again to turn it off. This is where the power of one finger comes in. You can create entire solos, rhythms, and bass lines with just one finger using hold notes. With hold notes on, you can lay down many finger segments with just the tap of your finger. Notice that when you lift your fingers up, the segment continues to glow, signaling that it will sound when the song starts. Let your song play in the background and experiment with different notes and octaves until you find a sound that really works for you. With hold notes off, you play each section while you're holding it down. When you lift your finger, the segment stops playing. This allows you to play Chord Board live, on stage in front of thousands of fans, or in your garage with your friends while jamming. Your solos are sure to be the hit of the band. Pro tip, did you know you can combine hold notes on and off? Toggle hold notes on and set down some starting notes. Now turn hold notes off and the currently held notes will stay on. Now while the transport is running, play handboard notes around the currently held notes to create combinations that your fingers alone could never play live. This is truly one of my favorite features. Here's yet another pro tip. You can lay down an entire bass line with just 1, 2, or 3 notes. Let's switch over to the bass handboard. You can see it's green down here now. Use the lower segments of the fingers to get lower octave notes. Now, with hold notes on, just press a segment of the index finger to make a bass line that tracks the root note of every chord that plays. One finger, one note. Fantastic sound. No theory at all. Experiment with up and down and 2, 3, 4 or more notes on the index, middle, and ring fingers to get a bass line that is truly funky. Throw in another note from another finger for occasional coloring of the bass line. Now you can change this to random to get a bass line that makes the listener feel like your bass player is improvising as they go. Now, the underlying engine of the handboard is an arpeggiator. The arpeggiator is always quantized to the tempo of the song. This means it's basically impossible for you to sound bad, even if you try. And you're in control of the arpeggiator. Click the ARP or speed display and the arpeggiator controls pop up. Move it around the screen to exactly where you want it. Now, while the transport is playing handboard, you can dynamically change the direction and speed of the arpeggiator, or even turn speed off to make space in your song while you record in the studio or play live. Experiment with changing speed and direction to create unique combinations of solos you never would have thought of in any other way. Another pro tip, if you want to make your own custom full chords without arpeggiation built on the underlying chord sequence, set the direction to none and the speed to anything other than off. Tap in any combination of notes, press solo to isolate the handboard, and press play. Now, your unique note combination will be applied to every underlying chord, and it will sound every time an underlying chord plays on the O chords in your song. So much power, just at your fingertips. If you thought that was cool enough, we've got a lot more. You can change the instrument assigned to the handboard to dial in the sound that you like. Press the stop button to instantly clear out all the held notes and turn off hold notes. This is great when you want a fast stop of the handboard without stopping the song entirely and without having to turn each note off individually. The note assignment box lets you cycle through 3 options of assigning notes to the handboard. The default is chord pentatonic. This follows your chords and assigns the pentatonic scales for the individually played chord to the blue fingers. But sometimes you may not want to follow the underlying chords. That's where key pentatonic comes in. Key Pentatonic assigns the key's notes and the key's pentatonic scale to the fingers, and it stays that way no matter what chord is playing. This is great for always knowing which note is in which finger and which notes are the pentatonic scale for the whole song. The last choice is key chromatic. This is great if you want to hold your notes in alphabetical order. It has the root note of the key in the leftmost thumb and moves alphabetically across the fingers. Again, all in key.
Notice how the blue fingers shift when you change the layout mode.
This way you always know which notes are in the pentatonic scale. But that's still not all. Here you can control the handboard's volume. You can also solo the handboard or mute the handboard with these two buttons. Here's a pro tip. With solo, all ChordBoard tracks that have solo turned on will play together. Check out the mixer to toggle on or off solo across tracks, as well as mute, volume levels, panning, and more. We told you that we love lefties. Press L/R to toggle between the left and right handboards. And if all of that were not enough, there are 3 different independent handboards. Press the hand select button and toggle between the 3 independent handboards: rhythm, magenta, lead, which is blue, bass, which is green. Each handboard has its own set of controls, its own instruments, and its own arpeggiator. Pro tip, I've been demonstrating everything on an iPad so far. On a touchscreen computer, you can run 2 or more instances of ChordBoard simultaneously. Go to the handboard on each one and set one to the left and one to the right. And now you can play bass on one and lead on another with 2 handboards at the same time. Unbelievable. You can do that also with 2 iPads by connecting them together over MIDI. More on that in the MIDI video coming up. The options and flexibility are truly astounding, and it's limited only by your imagination. And if you have a feature that you'd love to see in handboard, let the ChordBoard team know. We love to hear from our customers. Together, this gives you all the power you need to mix and match tracks to create your entire new top charting hit, or jam live on stage without ever leaving ChordBoard. There are no limits. Become the rock star you always wanted to be.